Today, we're in the biggest communication breakdown ever in global history. When you understand we have 60,000 types of bipolar, 22,000 types of ADHD, 12,000 types of psychosis, I want you to understand something. There's now 40,000 scientists and professors all over the world that's all admitted they suffer the human conditioning. And the human conditioning means that we think on reverse psychology, mentally, right? With a high IQ that only makes us good at what we do. Now, that's psychology. We use our psychology all the time. We analyze and get analyzed. Judge, get judge. We become argumentative, selfish, egotistical, competitive people. Conquer, debate, and divide non-stop. Now, they've admitted that every scientist, professor writes down their documents with their own opinions because we go to education to come to our own conclusion with reasoning. That's why everyone in the world believes in their own truth and believes the voice in the mind that they're educated into, the one that tells them to do it, or don't do it, and they argue with themselves. They suffer the human condition from a mental institutionalization, and it's called psychosis. The whole world is in psychosis because they think too much and they think 7 times more than natural, which means it's unnatural. So a high IQ with high intelligence and educational system is programming and engineering, reverse psychology engineering. Therefore, it's artificial. Your high IQ is artificial, which means it's artificial intelligence. Okay, the AI world started like this 300 years ago with artificial intelligence. And therefore, you're stripped from using your natural organic motor skills to think instinctively, which you're supposed to think 95 to 99% of the time, but now the whole world thinks mentally 95 to 99% of the time, and that means that everyone only thinks instinctively 1 to 5%. That's why some people are 5 times more instinctive than others. But if you restore your premoral state to your natural organic motor skills to think outside the mind, with your natural organic motor skills all the time, then you have the light bulb idea. The light bulb idea is a picture that tells you 1,000 words when you don't have to think about it. When you think about it, you're living in 6 and 9, right? Yin and yang, 6 and 9. The dark 6 is a dark tunnel. The dark tunnel has 2 voices in your mind that tells you to do it all the time or don't do it and argue with yourself. So you depend on the voice to give you an answer when you think critically about making a decision. You depend on the outside influence because you convey feelings to thoughts to your body cells and explain your own biological language, which means if you think you're talking to yourself or someone else, they tell you by psychiatrists and teachers, if you're talking to yourself, it's normal. But if you talk to someone else, it's psychosis. It's a lie. It's an outside influence when you receive information from your body cells and convey feelings to thoughts from an outside influence. That means that those voices are just a personality, right? Because 5 senses is negative fears when you think all the time critically with a high IQ. That's mental. It's psychosis. So you get deceived non-stop and dumb and down. You can only use 7 to 9% of your brain. Einstein could only use 11. Until the end, he said, I listened to the wrong voice. And then he saw the light and he started to think outside the mind in the 9. The 9 is light. Think outside the mind instinctively with your natural organic motor skills to think instinctively with the light bulb idea. And then you have the vision from another dimension that's perfect. You heard about people dying? They don't want to come back? You have access to seeing this and seeing the picture that cannot lie to you. And that's another dimension. It's dimensional thinking. It's thinking outside the mind, not with the mind because you're trapped inside your mind. That's recording the top bowlers to the whole world. So think about this for a moment. Okay? Think about this. Okay? I want you to stop and think about this very logically. The witness will leave his mark on earth with the educational system and the tools that he uses. Right? So you can have faith in him. Absolute faith. Now, I just made 2 very crucial videos. 10 minutes each. One, the headline is Emergency, Follow Us. The other one is the biggest think tank. The biggest think tank worldwide is watching me and suppressing me from you for a reason. Listen to these 2 videos very carefully. They're only 10 minutes each. I've just posted both of them. Listen to them carefully. Only 10 minutes each. There is no one on earth with the track history I've got. There's no one that's left their mark on earth like me. So let's look at that in metaphor. Do not judge or be mental. Think outside the mind with your natural organic motor skills, which is your intuition with 8 tools of righteousness. Coded in your DNA. Loyalty, honor, respect, moral restoration, encouragement. God gave you that gift to think outside the mind. So don't think with the mind. Think outside the mind with a God-given gift that you got. When you were 0 to 7, you could mastermind a computer game and move 7 times faster than any adult can. Bump with the adrenaline to be alert, alive, and aware, not suffering any confusion, frustration whatsoever before you went to school and got programmed. So you had those tools at 7 years old when you mastermind a computer game 7 times faster than an adult can. You had those abilities when you come into this world. The light bulb idea, the picture that tells you 1,000 words that can respond to 7 times faster than an adult can. You had that gift when you come into this world, but now you can't. Bruce Lee can master his mind and move 7 times faster than you can think by 24. I'm recorded as the biggest mastermind in the world according to the biggest think tank in the world that has this ability, okay, to think outside the mind with dimensional viewing. Now, it's important you understand something you need to read in Metathor. Okay, so 1989, I was first convicted to be the first person in the world to stamp an engine and chassis number in a car in such a way that the X-ray machine and the acid test could not diagnose it, could not detect it. That's the latest equipment you got today. In 1992, I was on the front page of the papers King Vice in the underground world, okay, on current affairs shows across Australia. When they brought in the toughest prostitution laws in Australian history, we found the loopholes to laws and could not be convicted. That set the model to reorganise in such a way it also became legal. Our organisation led the path to become legal. From the toughest laws ever imposed that we could not be convicted on because of mastermind loopholes laws. In 1994, they brought in the Burroughs case. They brought down the Burroughs case and implemented the first laws in chemical structures for methamphetamine in the underground world. And every network collapsed with these laws. Right, within 2 years, I was being watched as the number one person who put all the things together in loopholes of laws and registered companies to bring the chemicals back in and completely refuel every network. Think about that. I was done for 3 counts of money laundering case and beat every single case. They said it was the best money laundering case they've ever seen because they couldn't prove it. Okay? What put me to the scene of the crime when I went down was glass structured. Glass, laboratory glass that no science professor had ever structured in the world, never even thought of. I designed the glass in such a way it took a 14-hour process down to 3.5. They tested it. It's on every document. It's on every document. Every single thing I tell you is on every document. Read it in Metathor. My arresting officer commends me on this affidavit. He envies me because I brought down the highest details from gang killing, drug violence, drug deaths, and the whole 9 yards with domestic violence in the streets to the lowest it was in 30 years. He knew that, right? So I put my mark on earth where the marketing strategy was done and reversed their plans and dropped it to the lowest statistic in 30 years. That's leaving my mark on earth. Then in 2008, in the biggest mental health research, when the world's declared to be in post-human stage, in 1999, the winners of the biggest mental health research ever in global history with DNA testing and cellular study done. Then they found me in 2008, and the first time they found the cure of the human condition through me and my DNA and my cellular study research. So I'm the one who brought these things to human society. I've been declared 3 times, dead 3 times, died for 23 minutes, paralysed my neck down, told I'd never walk down to hospital in 45 minutes. My DNA's changed and led to that research, right? That I grew new arteries after having a major heart attack with 3 stents fitted. I grew new arteries around there. Okay, I had a stroke and died for 23 minutes, fully confirmed 3.5 years later that I've repaired myself with the DNA evidence done to study and to prove that. So you see, I come with tools and information that you can go and look at every document, every single thing. There's 6.5 meters documents written about me in the system, in the hospital records, in death records, right? I bring my wife back to life 3 times in front of 7 doctors and nurses in one of the biggest miracles in 1992 in Ipswich Hospital. You can go and look at these documents. Every document's here to prove this. They couldn't explain this. Her body lifted off the bed 8 inches from one end to the other 3 times like electric shock underneath them when she flatlined. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in front of 7 doctors. That's one of the biggest recorded miracles on the earth. Now, I want you to have faith in me because there's no other human being on earth like me recorded like this with this kind of evidence. So when I'm being suppressed by NASA and I'm suppressed by the whole system, right, you can understand what I've done on this earth, right? You can understand, right, that I gave away 90% of my money away. Recorded on documents, I gave 90% of my money away in a Supreme Court examination in 2004 in October. Right? I gave 90% of my money away, and it's the only one telling the truth. The only one telling the truth, right? And I left my mark on earth, and I showed you how we work. I created the greatest atmosphere in South East Corner, Queensland in that nightclub when I did this. That set the model to make it legal. That's a fact, right? So you can see what I can do. My mark on earth shows you I'm the witness with the resurrection for the first time in human history. And I've left my mark on earth, and you need to have faith in me, because if you don't, trust me, you're fucked.